on the northeastern corner of Antonica. Hidden in the Nectalis forest, Neriak is the center of the Dark Elven Empire and is a splendid dark city that lies carved out of the mountains next to the Nectalis forest. No natural light has ever seen their homeland, and the Dark Elves thrive and flourish in their city. All manner of evil races, including the trolls and ogres, can be found within. Most of these are restricted to the foreign quarter, where the Dark Elves trade with the outside world. The deeper parts of the city house many of the city's shops, guilds, halls, and homes.
Neriak lies on the border of Nectalis Forest, a barely living wooded area covered in unending darkness as a result of the smoke drifting down from the volcanic lava storm mountains to the north. Neriak can be reached only by traveling through the Nectalis Forest to its well-guarded entrance. The broken lava storm mountains to the north are home to the great dragon, Lord Nagafen, as well as the temple of Solasek Ro. South of the forest lies the Common Lands, consisting of cities like Freeport, High Pass Hold, and the lands beyond, all home to their enemies, the humans.
Neriak is a twisted but beautiful city carved out of the earth millennia ago. Magic and excellent artisanship have lit up the city with glowing neon-covered lights, and fountains of monuments to the god of the Dark Elves Neriak fill the city. The city of Neriak, for all of its beauty, is filled with danger, as it befits its occupants. Stepping into the wrong place in any part of the city can easily get you killed. And this is especially true for the trolls and ogres, who, although guests, are not welcome everywhere. This could be from some degree of superiority on the Dark Elves' part, and also because of the plot the Dark Elves are hatching, lying barely hidden beneath the surface of the city.
And this was brought to you by alakabor.com. And we have all our history coming from there, and also the Everquest website. So we'd like to welcome everyone back. It's been a while. It's been a crazy time for the community. We've got 132 people currently watching, which is fantastic. And as you guys are listening and seeing, you can see that, we're doing Neriak. And we got a couple of great co-hosts with us tonight. We've got Sam. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey guys, yep, this is Sam from Facebook. I'm also in the Discord and stuff too. It's been, I guess years since I made an appearance here on LFG with Chris and the gang. Since then, I've bought a house, for crying out loud. It's been a bunch of new stuff, but want to keep going down the list of co-hosts here, Chris?
Oh, yes. Well, let's go into Chris version 2.
Hey, Chris Allen here. I've been around the block a few times with LFG. Lots changed, doing my own thing now, but still, trying to support the community the best that I can.
Wonderful. And of course, Jer is always with us. He's in the background, and he chimes in when we want to get some input from him, or he wants to say hello. He's like a groundhog. He just sticks his head up every once in a while.
Hey guys, Jeremiah here. You'll be hearing from me later. It'll be fun.
Awesome. So we were actually trying to squeeze this episode in tonight. My wife is expecting. We're going to be having our first kid, and it's about this time now. So we've been just squeezing a lot of content together before that's happening. So if I just, you guys don't hear me say anything and everything keeps running, I'm just gonna let you know now that I'll probably just be out the door. And it's just how it is. But no, that's great. I'm excited to do this new episode, and this is awesome. Now, so Jer, before you completely hide, what have you been up to as well, just to share with the community?
Well, EQOA wise, the main thing I've been working on are quests. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a bit, but I'm at about 200 quests. I built this massive Excel sheet that helps me create quests at speed. So there's 750 starter quests, but we'll talk more about that later. That's basically what I've been doing in my spare time, other than LFG.
That's quite the teaser. Okay.
Yeah.
My hairs on my arms right now are standing up, and I've got tons of goosebumps. I don't know if it's from what you said or my supper, so we'll find that out later.
Yeah.
All right. So I've got a little something to play for the community before we go into our video of the tour. So I hope you guys enjoy this real quick.
It's time to slay the dragon.
About time. Anyone else on?
We've got 12 of the team online.
Yeah, let's do this.
You can become a hero and join thousands online in an epic adventure. Everquest Online Adventures, now online for PlayStation 2, rated T for teen.
That commercial is honestly a classic, right?
Yep.
Is it not?
Mm-hmm.
What a classic.
100%.
I hope you guys enjoyed that. Our show is brought to you by... No, it's not. No, they're gone. They're not around anymore. All right, so we're going to transition now into the first part of our Neriak tour. I hope you enjoy this.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Neriak City Tour. Proper attire, including feet and chest slot items, must be worn at all times. For your safety while on this tour, please keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the tour bus at all times, as well as your weapons sheathed and incantations paused. Young children should be accompanied by an adult, and please, for the comfort of those around you, we request that there be no flash photography, eating, drinking, spellcasting, or potion making at any stop during the tour. Thanks and enjoy. So, the first thing you notice about Neriak is that, well, it's kind of depressing, but in a cool, edgy sort of way. And it also smells like burning and death, both pluses you come to admire as you really settle into Neriak. Our tour today begins just outside the city entrance at Coachman Lothie, where there's sort of a small foothold with some NPCs around to hand out lower level quests, and they're accompanied by some merchants as well. I think most, if not all, classes are instructed to make their way out here to find Coachman Lothie and sign his ledger very early on, maybe level 2 or 3-ish, before progressing any further into the game. And this sort of helps new players get their bearings if they haven't played a Dark Elf before, because the city of Neriak is actually pretty big. And that's one of the reasons that Neriak is my favorite starting city. It doesn't have any tight camera angles or small corridors, really, minus the inside of buildings. And it's all very cavernous and open despite being built into the earth beneath it. Now, around this point, we have arrived at what is appropriately named the Bridge of Sacrifice. And I'll let chat and the audience sort of use their imagination and fill in the blanks on exactly what kind of stuff goes on around here. All right, so we have arrived at our first stop, the Distinguished Palate, one of several hipster bars in Neriak. Just kidding. But it does appear to be a tavern of sorts, complete with stoves, tables, a bar, and a slew of merchants and quest NPCs. Now, I never had one, but I believe this is where new Dark Elf rogues would be instructed to go, and they'd visit Guildmaster Krian and Agent Sithani in the basement, where they would have some quests for young Dark Elf rogues ready to take on the world. And accomplishing their tasks would reward you with some of your first weapons and the trademark rogue ability to sneak. Sir? Sir? Yeah, no, not you. Yes, you. In the back. Back of the bus with the faux hawk and the soul patch. Yeah, no pictures, sir. Sorry, the Dark Elves take flash photography very seriously, and they will put you on trial for your transgressions. Thank you. Okay, right down the hall from the Distinguished Palette is the Double Daggers Inn. Fun fact, I believe in the EQOA beta, or possibly it was in the live game as well, this was called the Lakeside Brewhouse, according to the signpost outside, which makes a lot of sense because it overlooks Indigo Lake, which is right next to it. And I believe that if you created a new Dark Elf Rogue, I think this is where your character would drop into the world, in the basement with tavern rats. And you'd be instructed to speak with Guildmaster Krian, who's kicking back, hanging out, having a drink over at the Distinguished Palette. And next up, we're brought to the Cauldron of Hate. This is where warriors started their career in warriory. And as a new Dark Elf warrior, you'd report to Scornmaster Udedne of House Udedne, and he would teach you some sweet moves like kick and taunt. Now the next mini-stop, also in the same large room as the Cauldron of Hate, is the Court of Neriak. And I think this is the first stop that makes my list of top 3 favorite places in Neriak. This is a really interesting place that's extremely rich in Everquest lore. What drew me in at first was the overall ambience. You know, this beam of light shining through the center platform, there's 2 sort of thrones atop the stairs for king and queen, and it looks like people would be tried for crimes here with nobles and officials present. So this all just looks really interesting to me, even though there doesn't seem to be a lot going on here right now. But in one of the EverQuest storylines, which I've had a hard time keeping straight as there seem to be a few different story tracks, spoiler alert, a military leader, Overlord Xanit Kaven, who is a figure in the lore who was appointed by the king himself, kills King Nathox Thex following his trial where Xanit was sentenced to death for high treason by beheading the king following his sentencing. So just a cool tidbit there, and definitely fits the whole death theme the city has going on. Alright, at this time in EverQuest history, this room houses the 3rd house of Neriak, House Jaenaris. So the now Queen of the Dark Elves, Christianos, was originally born into House Jaeriala, and her aunt, Albia Jaenaris, was married to Malik Jaenaris, ruler of House Jaenaris. The king and queen, parents of then Prince Nathox Thex, in line for the throne, met with the head of the House Jaeriala and explained that their plans for the union of their son to Christianos. Her parents, Renitar and Dresra, both necromancers, wanted their daughter to marry a necromancer as well to further her studies. And in their eyes, for her to marry a warrior would be, just beneath her intellectual capabilities and status. Infuriated by this, the king called upon the Ebon Mask, the guild of Dark Elf rogues, to make House Jaeriala just disappear. Later that night, a mysterious fire incinerated the noble house of Jaeriala, killing Christianos' parents, Renitar and Dresra. Christianos had been away studying with several other necromancers and didn't receive notice until a few days later. After the death of her parents, she refused to return to the public eye, but in their honor, she vowed to become a great necromancer, and she did. Now, players of EQOA, old and new, who are familiar with Neriak, will notice that there's no trace of House Jaeriala anywhere to be found in the game. So I don't have as much information on House Udedne, but the overarching theme of betrayal and hatred continues to shine through with this royal house as well. And if you reference the official Prima strategy guide, they even note that this is the second house of Neriak, and that, quote, rumors persist that this house will soon fall. So pretty cryptic. As a Dark Elf alchemist, one of your quests early on was to pay off a guard residing outside one of the House Udedne buildings, so that he'd introduce you to a member of Udedne royalty. Immediately after your act of bribery, you poison the Udedne nobleman, all so that you can steal a few strands of his hair for the quest, and in return you're taught how to make a crude quickening potion. Not even a good quickening potion, just a crude one. Congratulations, murderer. Good job.
All right, guys, this is the halfway point. Just going to show you the first part of the tour, and then we'll get into the second part towards the end of the episodes. So stick around, stay tuned. Make sure you have all your liquids, your coffee, your tea, your Red Bull, and whatever other legal stimulants that you're using to keep up with the show. So we're going to go into segment 2, which is the EQOA Revival Community Update. I have another neat little video to share with you. So this will be a part of Dustin's work.
All right, guys. So Dustin's not here tonight, so I'm going to talk for him just a little bit. Dustin's been working on Hagley for a long time. For those that don't know, there are actually 2 test servers. There's actually more than that have been worked on, but the 2 that have been known well are Hagley and Sandstorm. So this video is showing that Dustin has sorted out Death. Death's been kind of this elusive, programming-wise, it's been an elusive function in the game, but they've recently figured out. Special shout out to Devin Dallas for helping to dig in and figure out the code for that. But Dustin is demonstrating that here, and I think that might have been a recent thing that has popped up on Sandstorm. I'm not sure of the functionality, how far it's gone, but Dustin's demonstrating here that he's figured that out and your character fully respawns. He's also showing here that he's figured out character dialogue. I think he's known some of the code of this for a long time, but he's kind of demonstrating that, he's got merchants working, he's got basic dialogue working. You can see him selling and trading items. Hagley's been instrumental over the years. Even though you're playing on Sandstorm right now, Sandstorm has focused on the multiplayer aspect first, and Dustin has shared a lot of his work with Sandstorm to get some of those functions, basically like NPCs and a lot of the like coaching data and all kinds of things. Part of what you're experiencing now is a collective collaboration of work between the 2 servers. Dustin he's going to show off some dialogue. Some things that have happened recently are that we have a new person named Lauren who's helping us write some basic dialogue. I think the dialogue in this video is some sample dialogue that Dustin has put in, but Lauren has actually written 4, 6 or 7, somewhere in there, of cities worth of basic dialogue. So just the NPCs that don't provide a service or are a part of a quest, they may have like one line just like that, one line that they might say, and that amount of content has been written and is coming quickly. So that's pretty awesome. And the next topic here, which kind of bridges into my part of it, is that Dustin is actively working on a quest creation tool. So here you can see he's got the dialogue for a new starting character when they enter into the game. And so he's basically building the functions of that, which is very exciting. I'm personally very excited about it because I'm working on the writing end of it. I've built this galactic-sized Excel sheet that helps me assemble quests, and it keeps track of things like all of the pronoun names and the items and the mobs that are involved in every single quest. It's really boring to demonstrate because, Excel sheets aren't flashy unless you're into Excel sheets. But essentially, as soon as this is done, this questing tool is done, I'll actually be able to start inputting quests. So Chris, go ahead and fire that up. I'll wrap this up. But I've got all of Freeport done in terms of starter quests from levels 1 to 20, all of the Freeport characters. And I've got almost all of Kinos done, with a little bit of Highborn and a little bit of Surefall Glade. So maybe sooner than later, some of those things will be input. Quests are one of those more complicated things that require all the other parts. You have to have mobs in place. You have to have NPCs in place. You have to have items in place. And so there's a lot of database stuff that has to be done before a quest will really function properly. So that will be coming at some point, but the work is being done on it. Here we are actually in the Sandstorm server. You're seeing it live. There's Chris. He's Havlat, but I'm Olutra. We're just going to run around here a little bit. Just want to say, so there's a new guy, Xyloff. He's the new guy. He started in December, and he's just totally kicking butt on the programming end and making a lot of pieces come together. A lot of this networking that's still happening here. I want to back up and just mention the Hagley server is still going on. Devin Kathman, who helps Dustin with that server, those guys are still going to work on their server regardless and share maybe perhaps some of the data, but they're continuing on their project, and Sandstorm will be separate even if they do end up sharing data. However, Xyloff has done a lot of updates. He's done a lot of reporting in the Discord server. If you go to the Discord server, the update section, you can see his very frequent updates that he's added, even like today, this morning. He's been working on pathing. It's kind of his big thing. But I'm actually now going to pass this over to Sam, who has a message from Xyloff for the community.
Thanks, Jer. Yep.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yep.
So unfortunately, Xyloff is not able to be here right now, but like Jeremiah said, he did reach out and he gave us some words to share with you guys on his progress and just his sort of outlook on the project so far. So this is from Xyloff, the main man himself. He says, "I've enjoyed this a lot. It's been challenging, but also very rewarding to make progress. At the moment, I'm looking at pathfinding, something that to me seemed one of the hardest parts, or even semi-impossible. But looks like I've found the right tools for it now. Recast and Detour, recommended by Devi LTTI. Hopefully can get something preliminary about that to work this weekend. As for the project in general, I started this without planning, and that's still the situation. Maybe not the best way, but I'm okay with that. This is a hobby, not a job. It's difficult to make exact plans and timetables when I also have my real work, etc. to take care of, and it might pause the development occasionally. I can't say if my server will be fully playable someday, but maybe the main thing is to remove some of the roadblocks. For example, now we know how to do some things that may have been slowing progress previously. Have you seen I've answered any questions and shared pretty much all the info I have with other devs except the full source code, which in its current speed-coded state is somewhat incomprehensible even to myself. Also, we've got a couple of new developers around with experience from other server emulators, so I'm sure there will be more progress even if my server for some reason couldn't be completed." That's our update from Xyloff.
Woo!
Yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah.
Big time. So now we're going to be bringing in Cody. Cody, are you here? Go ahead, Cody.
Cody!
Introduce yourself. Who are you?
My name's Cody Hamby. A lot of you have seen me around the project for years, whether it be doing polls or keeping the community engaged. And about 3 years ago, me and Eric McAllister started with the NPC placement.
Nice.
Oh,
Thank you.
And I'm very Southern, in case you can't tell.
I like it.
All right, so to start, I'm going to read off a message that Eric has sent in, and then I'll go into a little bit of what we've been doing and those that's been helping and whatnot. So this is a message from Eric McAllister. He says, "Hey everyone, wanted to acknowledge all the people who have contributed to rebuilding the game's database. Some of these team members I've had the pleasure of knowing for the last several years, and others have stormed onto the scene more recently, dedicating huge amounts of time to help expedite the process. All of your hard work is much appreciated. Special thanks to Dustin Faxon, and if I butcher any of these names, I apologize. Devin Kathman, Tony Kane, myself, Douglas Moore, Jeremiah Johnson, Doug Trithall, Dennis Teed, William Coble, and Dustin Clover. I also want to thank all the community members who have in one way or another made this possible. Without the thankless efforts of documenting the game when it was live and working with us to improve our current population, we would have never been in this position. We hope when you log in and see the fruits of your labor through our work and take pride in that. Expect a population update shortly, including a massive resurgence in Otis and lots of other goodies. There are over 17,000 NPCs, mobs now, and there will be close to 20,000 on the next update on when we release. Please continue to provide us with feedback on the designated Discord channel so we can address any issues you discover. Thanks for all the support and hope to see you all online. And that finishes Eric's message. And I'd like to reiterate that the guys that have jumped on recently, I want to give a shout out to Show, aka William, and 20 Sack, Dennis. They have really been stepping up and helping a lot. I started in Otis, doing Kappas and a couple small camps, which I've always been limited by my computer that I have. It's tried and true, but it's old and it's worn. So it's been a struggle for me. I think today finished Otis. And a lot of you have been seeing my posts and my pictures. So I've actually got done with Plane of Sky and IOD. So those are both done, aside from, small little minor corrections that the community may find whenever that date comes in. And I'm pretty sure that it's going to be over 20,000. I think it's going to be more close to like 22. And if anybody's curious about an NPC placement, Show has actually been streaming, and Dennis, they've been streaming live, what it takes and how we do the NPC placement process. And sometimes it's tedious, but it's really not as difficult as people may think. Most of the time is spent researching. So keep helping us, keep giving us feedback, and we hope that you can see what we've done soon. That's all I got.
Thanks.
All right.
Awesome.
Appreciate that rich update. I don't care what they say about your accent. I kind of like it.
Awesome. He's a gentleman.
I kind of like it too.
Jared, did you want to touch on anything here?
That's all that matters.
Sorry, what was that?
Did you want to touch on anything else here?
Nope. I think they all covered it.
I'll just add that, for anyone who hasn't been totally caught up, if you're in the Facebook group, maybe you want to jump in the Discord or whatever, there's a channel too. So if you are not on Sandstorm, the live server that everybody's playing on right now, there's a really easy walkthrough that you can go through. It takes probably less than 10 minutes, and everybody's really helpful too, obviously. They'll get you set up and you'll be on your way playing.
Yep, join the Discord and join the different EQOA groups. Obviously, if you're watching the stream, you're part of LFG. If you're watching the stream and you're not part of the Facebook LFG group, go ahead and search it. We'd be more than happy to have you in. We've been growing exponentially over the last 2 to 3 weeks, which has been wonderful. We just want to encourage people too to keep sending us emails in, whether it be stories of the past or art or anything like that. We love sharing. This whole show is about sharing our love for EQOA and any swag, anything like that, anything EQOA related. This is what it's all about. This is why we do the show. So we have another little update. Thank you again, Cody, for everything you chimed in with. And actually, Chris Allen has a few things to talk about. Go ahead, Chris.
Hey, everyone. I remember when I was a kid, just wanted to, actually hold these weapons and this armor and helmets and everything like that. And with COVID and everything, I got into my own sort of 3D printing escapade. And I got this realization that I just wanted to, actually make these pieces from this game that we so remember. So basically what I'm doing is I eventually want to make my warrior armor set and sword and whatnot that I had. I'm digging into the game's files and the assets and whatnot to pull those from the game. And it's been a little challenging, but just trying to create my own holdable and tangible items that I can actually, hang on the wall if I wanted to, and it just comes down to bringing that back home and why I started playing this game and, little reminders and whatnot. On screen, that's a She-Ra sword that I made, and I got big into prop making and whatnot, and living this character that I was years ago. Making different dwarven runes and ingots and whatnot, and it always pulled me back to Everquest. So I've been working on trying to bring those into reality as much as I could anyway, so if anyone's interested or whatnot, that's what I'll be working on. There's a few different things that I've made on screen right now, even a callback to the business name I started, PST for Res, send me a tell for Res, bringing back things that couldn't be brought back, and that's the whole basis of what I do right now.
Yeah, we've got your
Awesome.
image up there now. A nice green potion.
Yeah, I went for the POD was my place, man. That's what drove that one.
So I'm just going to show your last picture here. Got that sort of pyramid-looking structure that'll be coming up here shortly.
Yeah, and that one, you know, a lot of the things that I work on, D&D and different tabletop games and whatnot. With that one, that was probably 1.5 foot tall print of a, you know, sort of Mayan temple that I did. It reminded me a lot of, you know, the lizardmen in Kazakh. Eventually want to make my own, but just different things, you know, that always pull me back to the game.
It's awesome work.
I see someone asking if you're going to make a CV. What's your tailoring skill at?
Oh, shoot. That would be the thing, though. And my side hobby is that I would like to eventually, but you guys know Spirit Makers was the way to go for the AC. But I was in school, you know, I did enjoy sewing class because I got to hang out with all the girls and whatnot. But I can sew, but... Yep, Spirit Makers would be the way to go moving forward.
There it is. Very nice. Very cool.
Very cool.
All right, so that's our second segment, and we're going into our regular third segment, which is our general discussion topics. We have 3 pre-picked topics that we'll be chatting about, and then we'll be adding a few others into the conversation after we're done chatting. So, you know, after we're done speaking, just give us what you think about what we spoke about, the 3 different things. Or if you want to do a shout out for your character or a shout out to, you know, a long lost best friend in the game, they might be watching. This is, it gives you this opportunity. Our first topic for today is actually something some people know about and some people don't. There was an actual carpentry skill that was in the game, and then maybe I'll just let Jeremiah sort of briefly talk about it and then give his thoughts on it, and then we can move to Sam.
So I don't think it was actually ever official, but it was in the coding of the game. You could actually see carpentry as one of the skills. So theoretically, it would have been one of the ones that they had some ideas about, but then they never published it and never pushed it to the game. So maybe that could have been equipment. Maybe it could have been like some sort of, I don't know, wooden shield, or I instantly go to like, what about like a wooden cleric's cross, you know, something like that. Anyway, so it's all left to our imaginations, but you guys, what do you guys think?
The carpentry skill, this was actually the first time when you guys brought it up to me, I was like, carpentry? I don't remember that at all. The first thing that comes to my mind is, oddly enough, like furniture, or just like crafting, not for fighting, but more for sort of like utility almost. So I'm thinking furniture. I think like around that time there was the Final Fantasy, and I don't know if 11 had player housing. Pretty sure 14 does. I don't remember if 11 did, but I thought it could have had something to do with that in the future, maybe the next expansion. But also, Jeremiah, to your point, like the crosses and stuff like that, I thought it'd be cool if maybe they explored like etching stuff in wood, like some sort of almost like a form of enchanting. It would add something to the gear. I thought that'd be kind of neat to explore.
For shamans or enchanters or something?
Yeah, definitely.
I like your idea with the whole furniture thing. It would probably be something like if this was a thing, it'd be like, okay, you can create a chair, but the chair only lasts an hour or 30 minutes. And then you would have this in like your guild hall. And then in order to get into the guild hall, you had to be part of the guild, or else you'd be walking into it like kind of like those invisible walls when you try to get over a hill. Kind of like that thing. That's what I would think would be pretty cool. And then like obviously making bows, right? Carpenters making bows and fletching arrows.
Definitely.
There's like a lot of different things, and it would just be another one of those trades that would complement another. So you know, you'd have like a blacksmith or an armor smith that coming to create things in order to create another bigger object.
Yep.
So kind of like one of those stepping stones. And
I see people in the chat talking about like sort of claiming or just like having that one spot in the world that they sort of called their home, or they made it their own, so to speak. Like if you parked your character at the end of the day, you would probably log off there for no particular reason, but that also sort of goes hand in hand, I think, with this potential theoretical carpentry skill, right? Like, could you build your house? Could you call this place, you know, your character's home? So I thought that was that's interesting. Yeah,
have a bed, and then if you're like standing on it or like sitting, you're healing over time and mana over time. It's like skyrocket.
Yeah, you get like a rested strength buff or something. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? Like That'd be kind of neat. It'd be for
Yep.
like 10 or 15 minutes, and then you just run to wherever, run to the Crocs or wherever
Yep.
you're. See, because then again, you'd have to have your building probably somewhere in like a city. Like it would have to be built somewhere where it's safe for you and your character, right?
Yeah. It's a curveball for sure, because this is, one of the magic parts of this game is that there was zero instancing. So like, where could the houses have been built? What would that have looked like? It really opens it up to the imagination, right?
What about our little seamstress over there? What do you think?
I was thinking about it. I was like, I wanted to approach this the best way that I could. So then in that case, permafrost is my entire house, or how are we going to deal with this one?
Well, I think you would have probably like an erected structure. You wouldn't be able to house obviously your whole guild. It would just be a small structure, and then who knows? Maybe you could you could have a carpenter build a trunk, and then that could be a guild bank, and then you could put X amount of items, and then everyone from your guild could access that. And then maybe there's a subcategory saying, because there was ranks, remember, in the guild too.
Mm-hmm.
So you could have like almost like computer file permissions. And then have only people ranked certain that can access this, that, or the other. That'd be kind of neat.
So yeah, I love the idea of guild hall, or specific house to one character and everything like that. My mind initially went to crossbows, bows, arrows, bolts, staffs, and things like that. I remember playing other games around the same time, Final Fantasy and whatnot. They had specific halls and houses to one person. I'd love to see a game where we could see everyone's house and everyone claiming territory and whatnot. I don't know how real that is, but I love the idea. I love having your own place to even log out at night, but then most of the people in chat wouldn't have jobs at Freeport anymore.
Yeah. So is that everyone? No, everyone's good? Everyone's got chimed in on that one?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, great. We'll go to our second topic, which I'm actually interested in seeing some of the chat too. Just start spamming your answers to this. So favorite mob camp. So your favorite camp to grind out. Sam, you want to start us off?
Oh man,
you don't just have to pick one. You can have like a top 5, but you can tell us which one was your the best one.
Top 50. Here we go. Ready?
Rats.
I feel like a lot of mine are pretty common ones, actually. Of course, DFC is in there, and the king in the middle. Like, I don't know if I ever actually saw him live, but I had the privilege and honor of seeing him in Sandstorm. He's hanging out there, and I was like, oh, he does exist. It's not just a rumor. But I've spent hours and hours and days and days. That was a big one for me. And since, everybody is hanging out in Darver Manor and Sandstorm, I think it's appropriate to mention the bandit camps surrounding Darver Manor. Those were always great. And the Knolls, gigantic Knoll camp nearby. I also visited that in Sandstorm very recently, and I got further back in that camp than I didn't even realize there were dwarves. Like, if you go far enough back in there, eventually I just kept going, and I couldn't find my way out. Like, I did not realize it was that big. I never went far enough back in that camp when it was live, because I would get killed. And then of course I have the Kappas and Otis. I'm excited to go check those out when they're live on Sandstorm. The Spectres, also nearby in the Pyramid and Otis. Of course, Croc Island. I would go there just to hang. And then Cyclopses, I think, is the last big one that I'll mention. I spent a lot of time grinding Cyclopses.
All right, Chris, what about you?
So Mitch in chat mentioned my number one favorite camp, Hexes outside of ZK. Love farming armor, loved the area. I also loved that I was human and didn't have to run that far against all the barbarians who had to come from Castle Lightwolf. Other than that, I love permafrost, frost giants. Kappas was another good place that I enjoyed, but Hexes would definitely be the number one choice of mine.
I'm really surprised I'm not seeing anything about Merkins or minnows. I haven't seen anyone put that in the chat, and they were cool.
Or the kobolds, in Otis.
If I'm doing the progression of my elf, it was like the wasp nest for a while, then go to Freeport, then do the Crocs, Madmen, and then how did I go to Moneyos Tea Garden? Because there was DFC for a while, and then like Merkins, minnows. I'm thinking that getting that were form was like my favorite grinding spot, but it wasn't. It was just kind of hell for me. But I just spent so much time trying to get that werewolf form that I think I made myself believe I loved grinding those mobs to get infected, but I don't think I actually. Oh man, my buddy Mac and I, we must have started like 8 p.m. Eastern until like 4 a.m. Oh, it was just a constant grind, and I don't even think we realized. At one point, he was looking at me, and I think I was asleep with my eyes open, but somehow my fingers were still moving. And then he's like, you want a drink or anything? And I just wasn't responding. And then he like shook me. And I was like, whoa, what?
How many hours in until you started questioning whether or not werewolf form was even like real?
Hey, that's nothing compared to Gator. That is nothing at all. I remember weeks on Gator, and I don't even remember where I was.
I remember going online and like I was Googling it or looking up at like Alakazam or something. I'm like, what is the percentage? How long did it take? And other people take, and like, of course, you get the trolls. You're like, oh, it took me 20 minutes, or it took me an hour, and then the other people will like, yeah, it took me a week. It took me a week and a half. Anyways, yeah. What about you, Jared? What was your favorite spots to grind as you leveled up all your alts? Because we're kind of in the same boat.
Can Cody jump in here on this one? Because I have a different kind of answer. He might have a more enthusiastic answer.
We've done this poll numerous times in the community on what was your favorite camp, and the top 5 was always Phantoms. Phantoms was always number 1. Every time it's like a staple. Everyone went to Phantoms. It was like the main spot. And then it was TFG, Hexbones, Minnows, DFC, the real name brand camps. That was always the top. My favorite of everything was Merkins, what Chris was saying, and
oh yeah,
right by SOM. It was just and Minnows. That 30 to 40 range grinding was just all the best spots, because then you could go to the Silith ring, grind the rings and all that good stuff. You're trying to get infected, so you'd have groups to go to kill lion wares or wolf wares or what have you. That was just a good range.
Yeah, everything was so close together.
Yeah,
it was convenient.
Yep.
So, Jared, are you letting like Cody speak on your behalf, or you want to chime in too?
What I wanted to say was, I think due to my alcoholicism, I enjoyed camps and I did camps, but I got into the game and played the game more for exploring and quests. So I love to discover places, and I'd hang out there for a while. I love it when quests took me places. I can't say that I got the opportunity to be addicted to the charms of camping a lot. But if I had to pick one, the one that I feel the most sentimental about is probably Kino's Prison. I guess I spent a lot of time there with different characters. I made a lot of Kino's characters, and so I inevitably end up there all the time, grinding away. But I guess I have sort of a general different answer in that. I enjoyed EQOA more for the quests and the exploration.
So, Jared, I like that answer. Yeah. And as sort of a lore master of sorts, you're the lore man.
Well, I can name a couple of people that are more than me, but go ahead.
Well, I'm curious, someone who loves the questing and exploration of EQOA, because shame on me, I had quests in my log for like ever. It's almost as if they were just permanently there, and I would sometimes not follow up on. I'm curious if you kind of took that same path, or were you like determined to finish quests? Because at least my recollection is, some of the one-liners, you get a quest and it'd be like, go south until you find a tree and the guy will be right there. But in reality, it was like northeast somewhere, and it didn't always seem to line up, at least in my 14-year-old brain. But I'm curious if you always followed up on your quest list and kept it tidied up and empty.
I did enjoy the quests, and I always felt like I wished that there were more quests, and so I guess my resolve was to make a new character. And when a quest would get me stuck, or I couldn't figure it out, we did, by the late 2000s, we had websites like Alakazam where people had contributed lots of information on where to go, even when, say, the book was wrong. So I could usually end up finding the answer online. As early in the internet era that EQA was, I was still able to find a lot of the answers, usually. I don't know if that answered your question.
Yeah, no, totally.
Yeah.
Alakazam and Cryptic Souls, we all probably remember.
Yep.
Speaking about Wayback, I don't know if a lot of the community have used the Wayback machine, so you're able to view websites from long ago. It's really neat to look back at the Everquest Online Adventures website. So like even when it first launched, just how basic it was, and then it finally turned into like a full fleshed out website with forums and things like that and polls. So I really recommend for anyone who's just interested to see how the website was back in the day, just go through it year by year, and then you'll see some of the really cool events that they threw. They put a lot of time into like trying to entertain people and keep people stimulated with just whether it's winter, summer, just different little things. And it's fantastic to look back at. It's too bad we just can't take that chunk of life and then somehow just go into it like the Matrix and just jack ourselves in. And then
I was even thinking about this the other day, just getting my notes and everything together, and even remembering some of the staff and GMs with SOE and whatnot, introducing new things or talking about a new area, or even their podcasts that they used to do. You know, I live for those moments of lore behind it, and even resembles the types of episodes, you know, you guys are putting on and we're putting on and whatnot. I would wait for those podcasts just to hear what was coming up.
Yeah. Okay. So this is kind of a side question. When did you guys first start listening to podcasts? Just curious. Maybe Cody, you can start. Okay.
Yeah, I don't listen to podcasts.
Cody doesn't like. He likes radio, but not podcasts, right?
I guess. I listen to like Joe Rogan occasionally.
Okay. No,
the answer might be 2015 for a bunch of us, because there was this cool thing called LFG that started.
Oh,
there it is. That was my answer.
Yep.
This guy, Chris, he puts on a hell of a podcast.
Yep.
Hey, it's not all me. It was just an idea that started with two people, and then...
And a dream.
Yeah. And then talking to people, talking to total strangers, saying, hey, I'm interested in doing this. You want to help out? It's incredible to look back at where we started and where we're going. Yeah, just something else too I'll share at the end of this episode. Okay, so we're gonna go into our last topic now. Before because I am like a master of tangents, and everyone knows this who've ever listened to any of, even if you joined our one of our roundtables. Like we say, yeah, it's gonna be a 30-minute to 60-minute roundtable, and then it's like 2.5 hours later, and it's like, I look at the questions, I may have hit like 40% of it. I'm like, all right, guys, it's been a fun night. And away we go.
I always thought it meant Canadian time. That's where I was so.
Oh, we take her pretty easy here in Canada. Oh. Up here in Canada, E. Cody, you like that accent?
That works.
That do anything for you?
Oh, yeah.
Don't be a hoser.
Hey, it's a bait
language.
So now we got a deep question. So we're getting, this is kind of serious, fun, but this is a deeper question. So how has EQOA changed your life? So maybe we'll start with Chris Allen. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, I can answer this one. You know, so I didn't know anything about MMOs. You know, I heard about different things, you know, that were out there when it first came out. So this was a game that my mother and I used to play. You know, she played a 60 Druid Diviner and whatnot. My main goal of, you know, getting back into everything is that she's been gone for 10 years now, just trying to get back into what we used to enjoy together. Even Dustin's helped me recreate before the server and everything was up and get her character back into the game. But I've just learned to appreciate, you know, story and lore and quests and teamwork. I've played WoW and everything like that. And it just feels like another cookie cutter game that anyone with an iPad can get into, where this was actual relationships and teamwork that we all, you know, we all held on to. You know, I still wish that I had numbers and the abilities to contact friends that I had in the game or my guild. You know, I haven't talked to most of the people in my guild in years, you know, and that's how it's changed my life. It's helped me realize what's important, you know, even if it is a game, you know, it's still something that I enjoyed doing when I was younger, you know, had fun doing, even if I had blow pops and too much surge to drink until 2 a.m.
Nice.
All right. What about you, Jer?
I could probably talk for an hour about it because it's actually a really emotional topic for me. But if I was to try to sum up a 30-second version, the day that we got that email in late February of 2012, that was a bombshell. I feel like it started an emotional journey for me that I, you know, starting that month, that last month that we had EQA on, and all of the years since. I mean, I literally, you can call me obsessive, but I wake up every day and I think about EQOA and what could I possibly do to get back there. It feels like, if there's any Star Trek fans, it feels like the Nexus in, was it Generations? Were they trying to get back to the Nexus, that one place they want to get back to? That's what it feels like. And so it's kind of obsessive, and I've done tons of different things, and I've had work and family things that have like taken over my life, and so I've had to leave and then come back. I'll hack it off right there and say it's been very, very emotional for me. And getting to see everybody run around the world is man-tier, jerkingly exciting and rewarding for me. So that's a summary.
And what about you, Sam?
Aside from ruining my early academic career for a little while, just again, 30-second version. We started out with one PS2, one TV, one controller, like one setup, right? My dad brought it home. We fixed it all up, got playing. I started a character, and then he started a character, and then my sister got interested, and she started a character. And next thing you know, like, we're all three fighting for one PlayStation, which soon became two setups, which soon became three setups, and we would hang out and play the game together. So it, if anything, early on, it was very much like a thing that we could talk about. It was something that we had in common and brought us closer together, I guess, as family members. So, I'll always have that. And, of course, I've told them about this group and this community, and they're all about bringing the game back. So it could happen again.
Yeah, I think for me, and someone in the chat mentioned too, like, I had a lot of LANs with my friends, and I would lug over my 27-inch Citizen TV, my PS2, my fat PS2, my keyboard and all that, my sleeping bag. The feeling of landing and playing and grinding is almost like Christmas morning walking downstairs and seeing the presents. Like, you get this kind of like feeling in your chest while you're playing, and then you got, whether music in the background, your snacks out. I found it really strengthened relationships that I had while growing up with a bunch of different people. A lot of other people who didn't play, they didn't really understand it. And at that time, like, the whole geek scene wasn't as accepted. So they're like, "What, you guys are intense geeks. Like, we thought reading comics was geeks, but you guys are like 3 levels above that." And but yeah, like, it definitely strengthened relationships. It probably showed me patience, because I've never met other gamers that would literally stop what they're doing and spend anywhere from an hour to 2 hours giving you Spirit of the Wolf and saying, "Yeah, follow me, I'll help you with your quest." And like, literally, they're getting nothing out of this. I'm not giving them any, like, they didn't ask for tunar, they didn't ask for any, like, "Okay, can I go on my alt and we'll like grind somewhere just to like barter time." They like, I like literally had this one shaman, and he went to just said, "Follow me and I'll show you." And like, we would literally do like half a chain quest. Yep. And I've never encountered people like this in any MMO past EQA. In World of Warcraft, it's always like, if we're gonna I'll power level you, it's like, "Okay, how much are you guys gonna pay me?" Or there's always something sort of involved. I've never seen that act of kindness. And I'm not saying like, "Oh, we're a soft community or we're too easygoing." No, it's just like, we're a community that looks after each other. So I would try to return the favor. An hour to 2 hour run is a lot. So I was mostly the guy where like someone's like yelling, "Hey, I'm on this quest to kill something." I'd be like, "Yeah, no problem." And I'd hop on my ranger. He's like level 50. I'd both give us Spirit of the Wolf. We'd run out to whatever, level 20 to level 30 camp. And then we would get the guy he needs. And I'd say, "All right, well, I'll pull a bunch of guys and you can kill them too at the same time." And yeah, you just kind of like pay it forward as you would do like in real life with restaurants and stuff like that. This game, like, emotional connection too, kind of like Jer. It was a time too where, if things were getting a little tough in life, you could go to this and just kind of get away from everything, and again, turn on your music and do your thing in the game. And yeah, it was fun.
I don't want to go off on a tangent either, but why do you think the community was the way it was during the era of EQOA? Like, you mentioned that you don't really find that type of pay it forward concept in other modern MMOs. Why do you think that is?
I have a guess.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think the structure of the game, which did not really let people solo, and you had to maintain your reputation and leverage that reputation in your guild, in your group, every day when you're logging into the game. You had to depend on people to get your quests done or to get those really high level items that you wanted. And I think what happened was the game sort of naturally filtered out the players that needed more short-term gratification and they weren't getting the rewards from socializing and connecting and communicating. And those players kind of came and went. And then the people who stayed were the people that enjoyed that slower process, like really working for something and really being a part of a community to do it and having your friends that you meet and discuss and the don't give up, keep trying, stick with it attitude of the game itself. That's the magic that the creators of this game put in place, and it created this community of people. These are the people that are still here. Those are the people that came back to Facebook or whatever social platform that was after the game shut down to reconnect because they felt it too, and we all felt it in some way. I think that was part of the people that made the game, and it was part of the game design, was to be a tight-knit community that was bound together. That's my opinion anyway.
No, it sounds perfect. Sounds good.
I think I'll agree with it. It sounds nice to me, so I'm going to agree. No, I think you're 100% right. So there's only one person left here we didn't get his feedback from. Cody? Yeah.
So I just posted a comment in our little messenger group about it. In my area, gaming really wasn't popular. Like it was kind of like that kind of like, we played Call of Duty, and I was 29 now, so I was like 13 when I first found EQOA. It was kind of like all my buddies, we played football or baseball or just small town stuff. So I actually lived a little bit of a double life. No one knew that I played this game. If my friends were coming over, I would hide it. Like I would hide my papers and my maps and all this other stuff. Like I dated a girl for 2 years in high school, and she never knew that I played it, and I played it like every day. So this game really, yeah, right. It's crazy. So this game like opened my eyes to these types of games and really brought a love for it. And it honestly, it spoiled me because I've never found a love like that since. And I think a lot of people in the community feel the same way. There's just no game that you just connect to like you do, or like we did with this. And will again someday. Spoiler alert. It's coming.
Yep.
Hey, all right.
All right, so we're going to try and bring in a community member and see what their thoughts are, whether it be on that last topic or any other topic. So I'll just get some music playing if anybody wants just to make some music with their mouth. And let's see.
Some onomatopoeia.
Yeah.
Beep, bop, boop, beepity beep.
So we're trying to get Travis in here. Travis, are you there?
I am.
Travis, welcome to the show. How you doing?
Thanks for having me on, guys. This is awesome.
Thanks for coming on.
Heyo.
I'm just chills watching y'all go over everything and just being really nostalgic about everything.
No, we're happy to have you here. If you want to just sort of state your character name and what server you played on and just touch on one of the subjects we talked about, that'd be great.
Sure. I'm originally from Mars Fist. My main character was Dardius, a dark elf shadow knight. I started out in Neriak, so this episode was like going home. I migrated to CLW like everybody else, where I was headshot and blood spatter with variants of that. Like I was an alt-aholic as well. I had like a level 60 everything.
That's impressive.
Yeah, the only problem was I just never got to like the epic quests and all that fun stuff. I never really did a whole ton of farming. Basically, I had a very immature outlook and was just a whole lot of grinding, a whole lot of leveling up new characters and experiencing new stuff. I never really got super heavy into one character. I did want to see if I could find somebody, if Brickfists is still alive and out there somewhere. Was a monk that I used to play with. We were like the first werewolves on the Mars Fist server, and that was just something I was super proud of, and an experience that I shared with this dude and was like super happy with. So I don't know if he's out there anywhere. What's up? As far as like what the game meant to me and everything, good Lord, it was such a massive part of my life. Like I think I started playing when I was 12 or 13, and I was on sitting watching like an old Yu-Gi-Oh episode or something like that on Kids WB, like a Saturday morning cartoon. The commercial came on. That was it. Like I saw the commercial and I had to have this game. So it was a birthday present. I got the game and mom and dad went out and we got the connector for the PS2 so I could actually connect to the internet and all my Ethernet cables. And this was like my introduction to MMORPGs. I played it nonstop from the time I was in like 7th grade all the way through high school into college, right before the game went dark. I absolutely loved it. I love the community. I love playing it. It was such a different experience. It was so much more involved than any other game I've ever played. And since the game went dark, it's like I've tried everything. Blade and Soul, World of Warcraft, what is it, Skyforge, Dauntless, all the Final Fantasies, Monster Hunter games, you name it, every MMO that's come out. There's just like this empty pit since the game has gone dark that I've never actually been able to fill with any other game that I've tried playing. Like it's just left this big empty hole.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
Just for years I've been telling everybody, like I get involved in these MMOs and I'm like, man, I would give up literally every other game, everything, just to be able to get back into EQOA. It meant so much to me. I remember skipping school to play. I faked being sick for like 2 weeks so I didn't have to go hang out with my girlfriend in high school to like sit home and play EverQuest.
Amanda, he's sorry. He said sorry.
Yeah, how do you think I finished my 60 epic?
I had to sever ties.
I think we can all relate.
It was just such a beautiful, fun game, and it broke my heart when everything went dark and we lost all of it. I'm just so glad that there are so many dedicated people and so many people who still are nostalgic about the game and love to see it coming back. And I love being part of the community and seeing all the updates and all the people in game that are just, even when it was nothing but free roaming, you know, going around and saying hi to everybody and seeing all these old names that I used to see on CLW all the time running around. And it's just so much nostalgia. Like it legitimately brought a tear to my eye when I fired it up a couple weeks ago and saw, you know, the gold screen spinning and it brought back so many good memories, and I cannot thank you all enough for what you're doing. Like it really is awesome.
Makes you want to heat up some hot pockets, right?
Now that I'm older, I gotta watch what I'm eating now.
Oh, yeah.
What are the lean ones called? Eat the lean cuisine instead.
Good lord.
The snack pack diet.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right. Well, we appreciate you chiming in and giving us your feedback. I'm looking forward to having you on again for a general discussion, or maybe even to have you as a co-host sometime. That
would be awesome. I appreciate the opportunity to come on, guys.
Yeah, thanks for jumping in, man.
No problem. Anytime.
Thanks.
Take care.
Thank you.
That was Travis.
What a guy.
We were going to have, what a guy. Seriously. What a cool guy. But isn't everyone like that in our community? Really? Isn't?
Really? Yeah. It's true.
We were supposed to have one more come in. He ended up having, I don't know, I think the dog or something's barking. There's a lot of noise happening. So he said, put me on for next week. Write me down. Ink me in. So that's no problem. We're going to go into the next section with this is we do funny questions, and I'm pretty sure the chat remembers how we did some of these questions before too. I actually gave the questions to the co-host instead of just bringing it on them because it's a little more difficult to answer. One of the first funny questions is, if you use the name of a mob, NPC, weapon, piece of armor, or spell to describe your ex or current significant other, what would that be? So who wants to jump on this one first?
I'm gonna pass.
It's so safe.
This is dangerous, dude. Why would you ask?
Sorry. I have one when everyone else goes.
You want to go last, Chris? Is that what you're saying?
I'll go first.
Okay.
So I picked a weapon. You know, a lot of you, you know, that could use swords would remember this one. But I picked Carnage for past, present, and future, you know.
And I ended up picking, I picked a few things. So like I picked Flame, Unity, and Enlightenment, or Fervor Effect from the Pally. Anybody else fill in the blanks there?
This was a tough one. It's funny, like I did all this research on Neriak and stuff. So, I was thinking through this. I'm like, oh, if I had to describe my current significant other, she would be Queen Christianos, the queen of Neriak. And then, I'm doing research, and I find out that she was basically like a blood-sucking being filled with hatred, and eventually she started to like really have this there was just animosity built up to, it just went downhill. And I'm like, you know what? She's probably watching now, if not now, later. So let me edit my answer a little bit. And then I was like, you know what? What's something more fun and cute? We have a couple dogs. One is a little 14-pound beagle mix, and
love beagles.
I ran over to Croc Island the other day, and I saw Old Fangtooth, the gigantic rare croc. And I was like, you know what? That's my dog. That's my little 14-pound dog, Lexi. So
nice.
She's Fangtooth. She's vicious. She's a killer.
I had to laugh at some of the chat. They said the Grim Reaper, the two-horned Ripper.
Yeah.
No, that's good. That's good. So the next one is pretty good too. So again, it starts off with cologne by, you choose a race, the fragrance that makes your weapon, so you pick a weapon, irresistible. Now, Jeremiah, did you get into this one, or are you also taking a pass on that one?
Divine protection. I'm just gonna say.
Oh, man.
I'm just gonna leave it at that.
I like it. Can I get some?
Oh, that's good. Yep. That's like the teacher asking a question. Do you know what these two numbers add up to? Elephant.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jared. No, that was good. I appreciate that. That's some comedic relief. I needed that.
I like that he read it like Justin Bieber in a Calvin Klein commercial too. That was good.
My answer was Essence of Klein. That's the only thing that I came up with. So
I did cologne by barbarians, the fragrance that makes your champion's harpoon irresistible. That's what I went with.
Yeah, nice.
I did cologne by gnomes, the fragrance big that makes your short sword irresistible.
Good. That's really good. And then the last one is, if you had to pick one race to start a super band with, what would the band name be, and what would their debut single or singles be called? Now, I love doing this. Did you guys want me to start this one?
Yeah, you start this one.
Okay, so I chose the Dwarves. My band name would be The Beards and Bellies. My singles would include We Don't Grow from the Ground, Belly Button Lint, What's a Last Call, and then their biggest hit would be You Look as Good as My Boot Smells.
Ooh, yum.
Nice job, Chris.
Thank you.
That's beautiful. Is that like a slow song, by the way? Maybe you could give us the first verse.
It's going to definitely have that careless whisper, slow, hands on the waist, deep look in the eyes.
I like
but it. You're not breathing, right?
Yeah, of course not.
So anybody else put anything in for that part?
I've got one.
Go for it.
Okay, so the Dark Elves, and the band name would be Digital Necromancers.
Ooh.
Yeah, it would be like a techno band.
Yeah, like some sort of EDM. That's awesome.
And maybe their hit song would be I Can't Live With or Without You.
Nice. Oh my gosh. But I like it.
I like that. That's good.
I picked on the gnomes again. I don't know why, but I think my super band would be a group of gnomes, and they'd be called Fizzle Pop and the Whiz Bangs. And I picture them, for whatever reason, kind of like a Beatles/Aerosmith type, and their hit single would be called Love Explosion. Just because they're, like tinkers, and, I had a gnome alchemist. I was like, that fits. And it's also, you can take that whichever way you like, but I thought that was silly.
Nice job.
Chris, you got anything?
What about Sea Money?
I came up with a band name, and this will be our first song as well, but I went with the Barbarians, so our band name's called One Night in Hollis, and that's the single too. We only make one song.
Oh, nice.
Very nice.
You're kind of like Treble Charger, or actually a lot of other bands that had one song and that was it.
Yeah. Yep.
Very nice.
That's awesome. All right, so we're going to be going in our next segment, which is Jeopardy. So while I get this set up, Just give me a second here. And I'll just confirm with you guys on Skype. You can currently see the screen. It says Jeopardy.
Are we not supposed to see all the answers, or?
You're supposed to only see where it says EverQuest Online Adventures Jeopardy. Yeah,
all the answers. Got it.
All right, so before we get into this, I do have to flip a coin. I was planning on flipping a Canadian coin. We're going to flip a guitar pick. One side says brain, and the other side says 0.46. I'll give I'll give Sam the chance to pick what side he wants.
Brain.
Oh,
what says 0.46.
Oh, brother. Did I not pay you enough before the episode? Was I too nar short?
Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens, okay? All right, Chris, you're going to start this Jeopardy off. So go ahead and again, don't look at the chat. We don't want you to get any answers from the chat. This is just you looking at the screen and tunnel vision, all right?
All right, I turned my chat off.
Jeremiah is looking at both of you guys where you're currently living, so he'll let me know if you're cheating. And you will be disqualified and removed from the podcast.
I want to preface this segment by saying that I pleaded with Chris here to not set me up against the EQOA human Bible, and he just started laughing at me.
Yeah, tonight's an off night, so we'll see. So I'm looking at the questions like, I played a lot of classes, but I was mainly a warrior the entire time. So it could go either way.
Yep. Well, I'm going to give you a digital handshake, 6 feet apart, of course, with a mask, and, good game. Either way, here we go.
Good game.
Okay, so what do you want to start with?
I will take... I don't know. I'll take geography for 100.
The graveyard with undead hounds is closest to this starting city.
And we're just calling out what our answers are?
Yeah, you would say, what is blah, blah, blah.
I never grew up on that side of the block. I'm going to say Neriak for my answer.
That is correct. So you are currently at $100, which is still within striking distance for anybody else. So go ahead and choose your second question.
I will choose... It's been so long, too, that I can't remember spells that well. And the first one's name that class. Is that right?
Yeah, it says name that class by spell. So which one would you like? Name that class by spell or just name that class?
Can I get name that class for 100, please?
No problem. This class is known as a mad scientist employing potions and elixirs.
Alchemist.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
No, that is correct.
Sorry. What is an alchemist? Yeah.
Yes. All right, so we'll continue now.
Oh man, I'm gonna go on a long shot. Can I do name that class by spell for 100?
Yeah, sure, no problem. This class uses the spell called Righteous Wrath.
What is? I have no idea. Paladin.
That is correct. What is a paladin?
Guys, I'm gonna go grab a soda and chips and go to the bathroom. You clean this up. I'll be back.
All right, go ahead. Choose the next one.
Can I do geography for 300, please?
You got it. This bandit camp is northeast of this small village that has a coachman.
What is Darver Manor?
Is that your final answer?
I'm gonna say Darver. I'm questioning Kinos. I'll say Darver Manor.
That is correct. Sorry, that puts you at 600 currently.
Okay. Let's do name that class by spell for 300, please.
This class uses the spell called Gymnast's Acuity.
What is a bard? That's my final answer, but I think I know what it is right now.
It is a rogue.
Yeah.
It is a rogue.
I had one too.
All right, it's the underdog time.
Holy moly.
You've got all the money questions here. You've got more than a good opportunity to just strong arm yourself to victory.
All right, let's go name that class for 300.
Name that class for 300. This class is unrivaled in their perception and wield some natural magics. So read that over again before you answer it.
It's unrivaled.
Perception and wield some natural magics.
I want to say druid with the word natural being a keyword.
And that's your final answer?
I mean, perception makes me think enchanter, but natural makes me think druid.
Well, think it out. You do have call a friend, so if you do want to use this right now, you could.
Okay, I'm calling a friend. Where can I call C Money? My enemy?
My phone's off right now.
Yeah, you ain't taking my money, punk.
All right, C Money. Which one is it?
I'm torn where you are as well with the whole natural magic thing.
I need a do-over. This question, Trebek, is,
Okay, I'm going to give you a hint. The word some, yes, was deliberately put in there because it could be either left or right.
Yep.
I really don't know. I guess I'm just going to go with, some? Okay, what about ranger? Because they weren't like 100%.
Is that your final answer?
Okay. I mean, yes, sir.
That is correct. The answer, Ranger, is correct.
That was the hardest question in the game.
You're
Oh my god.
Good luck.
killing it.
Did I even play this game?
All right, this is your chance.
Again. Name that class for 500.
Name that class for 500. Here we go. This class is known as an arcane master, unrivaled in their affinity for evocation and other realms of offensive magics.
This class is known as an arcane master. Wizard.
That's your final answer?
What is a wizard, Trebek?
That is correct.
We're in this.
You're at 800 now, so just a recap. We've got 600 to 800, so still anyone's game. If one person gets one wrong, that's a chance for the other person to win. So here it is. The pressure is on. What would you like to choose next?
Name that class by spell for 500, please.
This class uses the spell called Roaring Dragon.
Roaring Dragon. Oh my god. I know C Money knows this. Hey, I hear him smiling.
I can feel it. I can feel it through my speakers.
I mean, it's either like monk or warrior. Maybe I'm thinking of like a WoW berserker warrior. It sounds more monkish in EQOA language. Are you trying to throw me? Is that what's happening here? This is foul play.
He's playing mind games. This is almost like a poker Jeopardy version.
Yeah. It sounds like a monk thing. I'll do monk.
That's your final answer?
Yes, Mr. Trebek.
That is correct.
That was 100% luck. Oh my god. He's throwing me with I was a warrior. I was like, oh, maybe I'm a warrior.
So you've pretty much guaranteed your win. At this point, you're just stacking cash. So we'll go ahead to the last question. If you can't answer it and you're not sure, then we can also give this one to Chris, or you can both think of the answer. So anyways, we'll go for 500.
Okay.
A few pirates were found on a very tiny island located on the outskirts of this village with a coachman.
I actually have no idea. Wait.
So think of this zone. This zone has a coachman. If you travel along the coast, you'll hit a body of water. And then not too far from where the water begins, you'll see an island from a distance. You can swim to this island, which is not too far away.
Don't peek at chat.
Is this... I don't know.
Chris, do you have a guess?
I don't know. I'm torn between MTG or even, like whatever is closest to Buccaneers.
What's your gut tell you?
MTG.
Is this like a mid-level area? Like, can you give any hint?
I gave all the hints right there, so we'll go ahead with, he says MTG, and actually that is the correct answer, is MTG.
Well, yeah, because Munyul's Tea Garden was founded on pirates, from what I remember.
Yeah.
Nice, okay.
Good
Interesting.
Job. Nice one, guys, that was fun.
Very nice. GG.
Good job.
Make things a little more difficult. I didn't want to make it too easy.
Yeah, some were curveballs. And I always learn. Every time we do this, I learn stuff.
I had a good friend that was a sensei for a while. He played a monk when he wasn't making alts and whatnot. But yeah, I knew that one from him.
I picked that one purely just because it sounded like a monk thing. I never had a high-level monk myself either, so I wasn't really sure.
We're going to go into the second part now of the tour, and it's a lot of fun. So I hope you guys enjoy this.
This is the Enclave of the Spurned, the guild of wizards, magicians, and enchanters. Inside this compound is where each of the classes began the game, all in separate sections of the house. And even if you never had a dark elf, wizard, magician, or enchanter, it's very easy to tell who goes where because some of their lower level pets are put out on display by the NPCs who start you off on your journey to become a powerful magic user. Now, I never interacted with this portal. I had a Dark Elf Necromancer and Magician, so I saw it frequently. So I'm not sure if it's just some part of a low-level quest or something, but it always fascinated me, just like the Court of Inneruk. It's not something that had a gigantic impact on the game, as far as I know, but just a curious little bit of the world that I always thought might have a little something more to offer. It's mysterious, it looks alive, and I was always curious about interacting with these types of things that we find throughout Tunaria. Quick public service announcement. I hope everyone's enjoying this city tour so far. As an FYI, we're about halfway through, and this magic tour bus has no brakes or tinkle room, so I hope you don't have to use the bathroom yet. Thank you. So this is the Spires of Inneruk, aka the Church of Inneruk. This is where Dark Elf clerics would begin the game. I never had one of these either, but your teachings as a Dark Elf cleric would begin with Theologist Satai, or Estai, where you'd do a few quests for him and he'd reward you with spells like Minor Blessing and Endure Ailment early in your levels. Running through here, I thought it was interesting that the Church of Inneruk is so far back into the city. I definitely feel that SOE accomplished this sense of hierarchy and classes among the Dark Elf people, where they put more, quote, important people closer to the king and queen. The fact that this is a place of worship for Inneruk fits into this theory nicely too, since the Dark Elf race was essentially created by Inneruk himself through King Nathox and Queen Christianos. So definitely a lot of lore here. Okay, this next stop is a double whammy. It is House Dovexis and the Dark Gate, which also make my top 3 favorite places in Neriak. Okay, so House Dovexis is described as the first house of Neriak, closest to the royal family, and the most influential of all Neriak's houses, so it makes sense that they are literally just outside the Dark Gate. And speaking of the Dark Gate, just off to the side of House Dovexis, you see this giant, creepy gate with a huge skull on it. And it's not just the gate here that's interesting to me, it's the whole presentation and surrounding ambiance around the gate. It's foggy, there's eerie music playing, there's a raised platform connecting this door to the rest of the city, and there's a big beam of light coming down from above, drawing me in like a mosquito or something. It definitely felt important. Like maybe one day that door would open and hell would break loose or something. Anyways, if you had the opportunity to hang out here in Neriak and you spoke to the guards guarding the door, they actually had some unique dialogue regarding the king and queen. They basically say, hey, this is Darklight Gate, and behind this gate is Darklight Palace, where the king and queen reside. And you could ask if you could enter, and they'd basically laugh in your face and tell you that not even members of the first house Dovexis were allowed in here, and that it's an honor and a privilege for them to even live anywhere near the gate at all. So not only is entering the gate out of the question, but nobody has entered the gate in hundreds of years, in the EQOA storyline anyways. Then he goes on to say that when the Empress wakes from her slumber and deems it time to shake things up a little, we would know, because nobody's ever invited to this palace, and if for whatever reason they wanted you there, you'd be brought there, period. All in all, pretty serious stuff, and a lot of interesting lore with the king and queen and their extremely long history with Neriak and the birth of the Dark Elf race, all from a door that never even opened during the life of EQOA. So this is the Lodge of the Dead, probably the last of my top 3 favorite spots in Neriak. It is home to new Necromancers and Shadow Knights. Necromancers would report to Grand Defiler Jay Norris. You would learn your first spells like Life Tap and Rabid Infection, or your first dot. And Shadow Knights would report to Guildmaster Zethral Dovexis, where they would learn spells like Malice and the infamous SK ability Harm Touch. You know, this felt like the most exclusive place in Neriak to me, probably because of that false wall you had to go through to enter. Lore tells us that Queen Christianos is a very skilled and powerful necromancer who would constantly advance past the powers of her teachers. After she sort of capped out on her necromancer powers, she created the House of the Dead and became their duchess so that all necromancers and shadow knights could practice the dark magics in a place without disturbance, hence the false wall. All that took place prior to her marriage with now King Nathox, but after he became king, he commanded the consolidation of the houses of enchantment, sorcery, summoning, and the dead for the greater good of the Tyrdal, aka the Dark Elves. And Christianos was not having it. She wanted to keep the dark magic separate. So eventually they got married, each sort of with their own agenda, where Nathox thought he'd basically control the House of the Dead through the Queen Christianos, and Queen Christianos only saw the power she'd get from becoming queen of an entire race. Despite the whole thing where the previous king and queen had murdered her family because they turned down their arranged marriage proposal. A wonderful Game of Thrones-y love story all in all. As we make our way full circle back to the entrance of Neriak, there's just a couple more stops. The first is the Blind Fish Tavern, where you would go, relax, grab a drink, maybe chat up a nice dark elf guy or gal, and sit down for a bite. There are merchants here, among other NPCs, like Waysender Teethox, who was right outside, along with banker Sabor, and fisherman T. Lena, for all your traveling, commerce, and fishing needs, respectively. Last up, the 11th and final stop on our tour is the beloved Blue Flame Forge. We passed this on our way in, but now we can get a closer look at what's going on inside the forge area here. There's quite a few NPCs here, with the main man being Forge Master Mgizar, surrounded by Weaponsmith Lael, Shieldsmith Ursiel, Tailor Gillian, and their good smithy buddies to help you craft and repair armor, weapons, and gear, probably after you had a few drinks and a brawl over at the Blind Fish Tavern. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of our Neriak City tour. I hope you had a good time. I had a good time. Please remember to tip your tour guide, shower him with compliments, and take all your belongings upon exiting the Magic Tour Bus, because if you don't, I will. Thanks for watching.
So that concludes the tour. I'd like to get chat to thank Sam for doing a real bang-up job on that. And I really appreciate the effort he put in and the little script to go with it. I'm very proud of you, Sam.
Oh, thanks, Chris.
So we're at the final part of the show, the part that nobody wants to see coming, but we can't do this show for 6 hours straight. It's getting late for me. It's almost midnight Eastern. So segment 5 is us just kind of wrapping things up. I do have one quick giveaway to do. So if everyone wants to pay attention, you have whoever uses this first will be able to consume it. Good luck to the first person who can use this.
Whoa.
And then maybe next episode I'll be able to give away another one.
Where did you find that? Oh my god. I can't remember if I've ever even seen one of those.
So yeah, we're just going to read off a couple of comments from some of the listeners, whether it be from Facebook or from YouTube. So I'll read the first couple here. We've got White Rabbit, best podcast. Chris really brings those nostalgic vibes out as well as the co-host. They really mesh well together. Can't wait for the next episode. Thank you very much. Retromus Prime, the best game ever. I should have never left EQOA for EQ2 when it came out. Sam, you want to do a couple?
Yeah, sure. Lando Hitman says, this hits me square in the nostalgia, then a crying face. Daniel Dragonstaff says, I sure hope this game comes back. I've tried EQ1 and I'm currently playing EQ2, but nothing compares to EQOA. My only hopes for gaming are an EQOA revival and Pantheon. Well, your dream's coming true, pal. See Money, you want to do one?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll do one. Freedy Lord says, let's try to keep the game originally how it was and maybe put, I think that's Boone, but from 50 to 60 grind. The slow pace adventure of EQOA was epic. We don't need to rush the game. This one's from D Bama Swag. Even early game is fun, but would love to explore this world.
So we've got Eastwood 400. Great project you guys you have going. Wish I could help. I'm a computer ignorant, unfortunately. I wish the best for all. EQA lives on. Then we have Willow. Man, I miss my game. He must say it like he misses his woman. But he says, man, I miss my game. And this guy's characters, he is Finsterness, level 60 Death Knight. Jared, did you want to read a couple?
Sure.
That is a mouthful.
Locknita? Oh man, that's
that is a mouthful.
Thank God you picked Jared.
I thought you were going to set me up with that one.
Oh, Cody, come on in. You want to do it?
No.
No? Oh, no, he's good. Pass. This person says, y'all doing good work on the tour. Snippet updates. Delphcoth, Rat, Hydromancer, LFG. And then Benjamin Adamson, you kept your promise for more uploads. Woo! Yes.
Yes, we did our best there.
Yeah.
Cody, do you want to read a few or?
Couple left just for you.
Yeah, I read a couple. Benjamin Adamson. No, you just read that one. Doran Jones. I didn't have my glasses on.
It was a good one. We can read it again.
This game still has my heart. Me too, Doran. Eastwood 400. Day one player, didn't know the game lasted till 2012. I played from 03 to 05. This game changed my life. Freya, 60 human, Death Knight. Castle Lightwolf, proud former member of Crimson Legion. Oh, EQA nostalgia. This guy. This episode was fantastic. Sorry I missed it when it first. It's so impressive what the guys working on have accomplished. 4051 must be a devil. I'm without a PC now after losing my desktop a week before Sandstorm went up and losing my laptop for the same reason as mentioned here in the video. A week after the server went up. LOL. Was about to upload an 18th anniversary video too. Oh, and yeah, Gatorware was very hard to get for whatever reason. My wife could never get it. I had a lion and a rat. Rat took much longer than lion for me, definitely.
All right, thank you. Sam, you want to get a couple more in?
Sure. JC Holgwin says, Dragano level 60 mage, server diamond hold. Our good friend Baked Yoshi says, I cried a little. EQOA Renaissance at which part? Baked Yoshi at EQOA Renaissance from start to finish. Yeah, that's about right. Do one more. A Corey Hey y'all, it's been 6 months time for another show.
Well, here it is.
There it is. Wish come true.
Yeah, there's a pattern every 6 months.
Ask and receive.
Yeah, maybe I'll have another kid on the way another 6 months. Who knows? Chris, you want to go ahead, just go through the couple of Facebook comments?
Yeah, so we have Jago, most annoying starting city outside of Rivervale. I think that was the last episode, I think. We also have Richie, Neriak, damn, I was a elf bro, Terror of Lake Pikes, no stories, sad face. And then Trey, how many people here fell into the river on the bridge where the lake pikes were? So yeah, same comment. Must have been almost every damn time I fell in because I wasn't paying attention. Laughing my A off.
Lamau.
That's quite the experience when you're getting the A, laughing the A off.
Good times.
Yeah. All right, guys, that's the complete episode. We actually hit a new high at the beginning of our stream. We had, I think, around 140 people. Is that correct? Anyone take a number down?
I think it was a little higher. I thought I saw 180, 184, something like that.
Wow.
That was good.
So we want to thank you. Thanks for making comments and sending some submissions in. I know I said earlier in the show, Jeremiah and I have a special Everquest Online Adventures anniversary episode that we've been working on, that we're going to be releasing at some point, probably either at the end of this month or next month. This is a little secret episode that him and I have been working on, and
it's a secret.
Yes,
and it's awesome.
It's secret, precious
secret.
Anyways, so yeah, keep an eye out for that on our LFG page. You guys are really gonna want to listen to this one because this is crazy. It's just, I know I say that about every episode. You know, we're gonna be bringing up this. This is something special that Jeremiah and I never thought we could put together. So that's as much as I'm gonna give on that. And I think I already gave away that game card, right? So yeah, I did. So like I said, we'll be giving away another game card next episode, and whoever was the lucky person to redeem that quickly, kudos to you for signing on and redeeming that and logging into Sandstorm. So congratulations to that person. Just, you can always make a message in chat so we know who was the person that got to use it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Does anybody have any last words before we sign off?
I just want to say thanks to everyone working toward getting the game back up, community, the devs, everyone putting together everything on both servers, etc. It's just it's making, you know, everybody's dreams come true in a way, right? And we're all really thankful and excited for the near future, and the LFG cast and crew, of course, too. It's always fun. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And then I think, is Cody still around? Cody, did you want to say anything, last word, something for the community to keep an eye on too?
Yeah, just keep on the Sandstorm server, keep running around, identifying issues or problems or corrections. The more that you're on there, the more codes that they're sent, the more they can test stuff, it helps. So stay on it, stay moving around, testing, looking, searching. As updates come, just make sure you just stay with it. And if anybody from the NPC team places a question on the Discord or on the Facebook page, just make sure you help out as much as possible, because, you know, we want to make everything perfect, but we don't have video or pictures or anything to go off of. Sometimes it's just text. 90% of what I just did on Plane of Sky was via text from Ronson's guide. That's all I had. I had very little pictures or video, so I relied heavily on everyone's input, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Jerry, you have anything to say?
Community, you're the best community there ever was. And every day I'm hoping we all make it back home. And I think that I have to do less hoping and more waiting, I guess, in terms of how likely it is we're going to be back home. We're already there in some ways, and every day seems like we're just getting closer and closer, and so excited to get there with you guys. Thanks for hanging in there. Thanks for being positive. Thanks for everybody who is supportive and positive and thoughtful and patient. We really appreciate it. That's it.
Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Cheers.
It's time to slay the dragon.
About time. Anyone else on?
We've got 12 of the team online.
Yeah, let's do this.
You can become a hero and join thousands online in an epic adventure. Everquest Online Adventures, now online for PlayStation 2, rated T for teen.